As someone who has always loved a handwritten note, spends a lot of time reading them, and really appreciates and understands the value of them, I am so excited for today's guest. We're diving into the art of personal connection in a very digital first world. Our guest today is David, the founder of Handwritten, a company on a mission to bring personal touch back into business communication. With over 20 years of experience in marketing, David has built a service that allows brands to scale handwritten notes, blending cutting-edge robotics with the timeless charm of pen and paper. We talk about why personalized marketing still matters, how Handwrytten's technology works, and what growing brands can learn about connecting with their clients on a deeper level. David, welcome to the show. Can you start by telling a little bit about your journey in marketing and what inspired you to start Handwrytten?
Thanks so much for having me, Bex. So I've been doing messaging in many forms since 2004. Going on 22 years now. Prior to Handwrytten, I ran a text messaging company, started that in 2004, ran that for 10 years. And that company was solely focused on mobile CRM. So we did texts for major brands like Abercrombie and Fitch, Toys R Us, Sam's Club, Office Max, Cirque du Soleil, Blue Man Group, and many, many more. We did 1 million texts just for Abercrombie and Fitch a day. I sold that company in 2012. I had to work for the new owners for 2 years. And during that process, I thought, these text messages work really well, but I think there'd be a point where everybody reaches mass saturation of text and email and tweets and Slack and all the rest. So when I left Sell It, the last company, in 2014, I immediately started Handwrytten. So Handwrytten is the world's largest provider of automated handwritten notes. We have about 200 robots that we built and operate here in our facility in Tempe, Arizona, right outside of Phoenix. And the idea is, because we've reached inbox saturation, the least used inbox is the one at the end of your driveway. So how do we leverage the most personal channel and try to generate more personal connections with customers and prospects? And, we have some research that we've done through an independent third party, as well as our own research proves that this actually does work, that sending people authentic looking handwritten notes is a tremendous way to grow LTV, whether you're a brand or a nonprofit or an entrepreneur just getting going.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us. One thing that I've really talked about so far this year on the podcast is the concept of analog living. And I think we're seeing a lot of creators and a lot of, honestly, just social media users or people that are behind screens all day looking to kind of detach from that. And I think what's a great concept with Handwrytten is, getting that physical mail in the mailbox, and it kind of takes you away from, I guess, the stressors of your daily routine or being attached to your phone or attached to your computer. I think that's a really great approach. It's interesting that you come from, with SMS messaging. I feel like we've definitely seen that a lot, but it's also a lot easier to say, like, reply stop for the text message and to, kind of end the conversation there. So I think what Handwrytten is doing is just such a great approach to be able to get in front of people in a more personal way. So personalized marketing is clearly at the heart of Handwrytten. Why do you think handwritten notes still have such a powerful impact on clients and customers today?
I don't think it's still. I think they have more of an impact on clients and customers today because it used to be commonplace. People would, maybe not so much in business, but personally, people would send a handwritten note. Maybe in business from a salesperson they would, but we've moved so far away from that what was commonplace is now rare. And it just makes it all that more valuable, and people really treasure when you send them a handwritten note. I can give you some examples if you like.
Yeah, that'd be.
We have a piano tuner. He's in your house once a year. I mean, the epitome of a small business. He's in your house one time a year, tunes your piano, and then he doesn't have to come back for a year. But he uses us, and he actually hooked us up through an automation through Zapier, where he sends you a handwritten note right after tuning your piano for the opportunity to be in your home and work on probably the most expensive thing in your house. A year later, when he comes back, that handwritten note is often standing up on the piano. So not only was it opened, not only was it read, not only was it was kept on the most expensive piece of furniture in the entire home in a place that's typically reserved for graduation announcements and Christmas cards. That is advertising that you cannot buy. So there is a very unique place in people's hearts for handwritten notes that can be easily leveraged.
Yeah, absolutely. So to go back to the technology aspect, Handwrytten relies on these sophisticated robots. You mentioned you have about 200 of them. And that really helps with scaling the handwritten note process. But can you walk us through the innovation behind your patented robot? And then also, how does it balance that quality with having that handwritten note with the efficiency aspect of being able to deliver so many messages?
Yeah, so it has been quite a journey, and I know a lot of people say they're on an entrepreneurial journey this and journey that. This literally has been a journey. I mean, when we started, I didn't know how to build a robot, but we went about it. We came out with, it took us several years, I think like 8 years, maybe 7 years to get the first one. And over the past 5 years, we've really refined it, and not just really refined the robot, but the process. So let me kind of explain what I mean. So about 3 years ago, we kind of nailed the robot. So the robot could write. It could write in 30 to 50. I mean, we have 300 or 500 handwriting styles, but to the available to the public, we have about 40. And then the remaining are custom styles for individual people that have their own styles made. So it can write the notes. It can vary the left margin just a wee bit. So it doesn't look like you're writing down a hard edge. It looks like you're trying to write on a hard edge, but you're not. It varies the spacing between lines ever so slightly between lines, so it looks like you're not writing on ruled paper. It randomizes characters and takes care of ligature combinations. So two O's in the document will look different, and then two O's together will also look different because you might do a little loop between those two O's, that type of thing. And then we bend the text ever so slightly with AI. So that was all figured out 3-4 years ago. And it looks really great. And some of the styles I can say, yeah, that looks robotic. Other styles, I see it come off the robot and I can't even tell myself. And I look at it every day and I'm my worst critic. On top of that, though, then it really becomes the process. So feeding paper at speed. Believe it or not, feeding paper turned out to be a pain in the neck, especially feeding envelopes. Feeding envelopes an extra pain in the neck. But we figured that out. And then we also figured out how to QA these at speed. So we use machine vision that looks at every note and determines if the dot over the I is missing and kicks it out if it's not. We then also automated the stuffing of these in a way that guarantees the message on the inside, it matches who it goes to on the outside. And we've really done this rather large investment in technology. I mean, we've got millions of dollars in robots, but we have $1 million plus just in stuffing. So all of this technology is here to support our customers. In addition to that, we run our own print shop and we print on very high quality paper. So if you come to handwrytten.com, and it's HANDWRYTTEN, you can design your own custom card with your logo, your photo of your office or your product or whatever. You can then have us write on it in the handwriting style of your choice. You could even include a gift card or something like that, and then we'll mail it for you. And you could do one card. There's no minimums, and there's really no additional fee for custom cards and stuff like that. I don't know if I answered your question, but it's really that journey of robot to process, which was something I wasn't expecting. It's not about the robot, it's about the process. So
Right.
we've really nailed that process in the last year.
Yeah, that it's really eye-opening how much goes into it too. When you think a handwritten note, you think just about initially the note itself, and then, like you mentioned, stuffing the actual envelope, ensuring that
Yeah.
that human aspect, like you say, like with just certain letters, changing things up. I mean, that it certainly goes a long way, I'm sure, with in terms of like showing how realistic this text comes out to everyone. So that's really cool to hear more about. How long?
Yeah, I know your listeners are a lot of entrepreneurs, and it's just like I think it's common for anybody. The further you get, you just create more problems for yourself, right? Like when we were sending 100 cards a day, it was one thing, but now that we're sending 30, 40, 50,000 a day, it's just a different set of problems. And you just have to relook at your business and be willing to go through that innovator's dilemma and solve those problems. So that's kind of what it is. It's just it's a textbook case of growing businesses.
Yeah. And that's great too that you mentioned you can, there's no minimum in terms of order, so people can give it a try and see if they like it. Do most people opt for one of the options that you already have in terms of like the handwritten fonts, or do they upload their own?
By and large, they use one of ours. I mean, I'm the CEO. I founded the company. I don't even have my own custom font
Okay.
or handwriting style. We have like celebrities that do, some
Okay.
big prominent names of, like, believe it or not, quarterbacks for football use us,
Wow.
like social media influencers that you would absolutely know, all of them CEOs of companies. One of the thorns in my side, though, is that we cannot name any clients because nobody wants to be known as sending a phony handwritten card. So the secret's with us.
Got it. Got it. So, in terms of advertising for your own company, did you face any challenges for the aspect of convincing the brands that a handwritten outreach could potentially move the needle in what people would say is more of a digital first world?
100%. There's a lot of problems. So let me criticize my own business in two ways for you. Number one is what's called the BCG matrix, if you've ever heard of that. But basically, if you're to take a piece of paper and divide it into four segments, you have on the left-hand margin, you say in the top segments, at the very top, it's clients you don't know, and at the bottom, it's clients that are working with you. And then on the other side, or the other scale, the X, you say it's existing products or new products. So, if you think about it, the easiest thing in the world is to sell an existing product to an existing customer. So if you're an office supply salesman and you sell pencils, well, just sell them pens, right? That's the easiest. Second easiest would be selling a new client an existing product. Everybody knows what a pen is, or existing client a new product because you can bring them into that product. But the hardest thing is selling new clients, new products that don't exist. And that's what we're doing. So it's a constant game of education just in general. And with that education these days, thanks to digital, the dopamine hit that comes with instant ROI of an email campaign or an ad click or whatever, everybody expects instantaneous results. So they'll say, I'm a huge Fortune 500 brand. I will test 100 cards and I expect an ROI in 30 days. Well, but that's not how technology works, or this technology works. This is a long-term relationship builder where the purpose of a handwritten note is to stay on their radar. Think back to that piano tuner I mentioned before. You want them to retune your piano in a year,
Right.
and look at that note, and have people that come visit their home see that note for a year. So it's not like I send you a handwritten card, you're going to buy a new car. But a lot of the mentality in America is so myopic and so short term, and all these electronic forms of communication are making it that way, that people have a hard time thinking about really what is a lifetime relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Lifetime isn't 1 hour or 1 day, it's lifetime. The other thing is a lot of time there's not a direct correlation or attribution between sending a handwritten note and making a sale anyway. It's not the same as an online purchase. So, people just need to think longer term about that and what it means to build true durable value with their customers. And then finally on that one, I'd say, and you didn't ask this, like what's the ROI of a handwritten note, but I'd say if you're asking that question, you need to take a look in the mirror, because if somebody chooses you as a brand, your brand or your name or your new entrepreneurial business, you need to thank them for it, regardless of ROI. And it should be a true, what I call full stop thank you, which is say thank you. Don't ask for a referral. Don't ask for a re-up. Don't ask for anything. Just say thank you, because they have the option to go with Ubex, or they have the option to go on Upwork or go to Alibaba and get the product made, or just search Amazon for a similar thing or whatever that is. You are not the only option out there, and you should really be grateful that they took the time to find you out of the literal billions of options out there.
Yeah, those are some really great points. I like that you touched upon, nurturing those relationships. So often with digital marketing and, even with social media ads, I think we're seeing such a trend where people are getting so fatigued with seeing them that it's almost like you forget the ad within 5 minutes of seeing it. So if you're watching a YouTube video and an ad pops up and you just click skip, or if you're scrolling on social media, you see so many ads every day that you don't remember the ads, and it doesn't foster that sense of relationship with the brand. It's just another ad on your feed. So by having this really personal touch come directly to your mailbox, it sets it apart as more of a back and forth partnership and a relationship versus just buying something from a brand because you saw it online. And I really like too how you mentioned that getting a handwritten note in the mail. And I think even when we think about celebrating things like your birthday, or you send someone a card for whatever it is, you hold on to that card and you cherish it when you read it from someone, and you know that they took time to write this and to mail it to you instead of just sending you a quick text message. And I think that goes a long way, especially when showing that customer. There's so many ways to go about that and to be more unique and to show your customers that you appreciate them spending their hard-earned money on your business. And there's plenty of other businesses, like you said, to choose from. So I think that appreciation piece goes a long way, and that reminder, especially in something that's such a nice reminder that they would want to hold on to and even to showcase in their house, like you said, I think that's a really awesome way to go about approaching it.
Yeah, like everybody, I'm getting into Instagram and YouTube videos and all that. And just yesterday, I had my microphone out here and I was at the mall asking people, can you tell me, okay, do you have any handwritten notes saved? And they'd say yes. And I'd say, okay, where are they saved? On refrigerator, mantle, whatever. I say, great. On that same mantle, I used to send millions of text messages a day. How many framed text messages do you have?
Right.
Or how many emails? How many emails do you print out and save there? And they look at me like I'm crazy. I was going to give them $1,000 if they said yes to one. Right? People, it is so obvious, but marketers ignore it.
Hmm.
It's just so obvious. And you're 100% right. I have no idea the Instagram video ad I saw or the talking head, of which I'm guilty of. I don't remember any of them. I just don't remember them. I mean, it's all digital noise now. So if you can do something to kind of break in a different way, whether it's a handwritten note or flying a blimp over their house or whatever, at least you've got a shot. And even if they think it's fake, I don't think our handwritten notes look fake, but even if they think it's fake, they might say, gee, at least they did something different.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Really interesting about the piano tuner that you brought up too. I think it also gives you that sense, especially with local businesses, that you have more of a closer relationship with them and it creates that consistent pattern or routine that you go there consistently for whatever it may be. It could be a local restaurant. We just brought up this example on the show, but a cake shop. So the owner every year would send out we know it's your birthday coming up. Here's 20% off your cake because they would purchase it from them every year. And that would make such a difference for that consumer. Now they feel like they have a relationship directly to that cake shop. And just that little personalized touch really goes a long way.
Yeah, we worked past tense with a mattress company that everybody would know. It's one of those foam mattress brands that get shipped to you. When they were starting out, they would include a handwritten note in every box. Now they wouldn't be able to personalize the name because they don't, they were all in a warehouse. But what we would do is we would do doodles.
Oh, okay.
And there would be a lot of them. So it wasn't personalized, but it was personal. So it would be like, thank you so much for your purchase of this X mattress. We hope you enjoy your first night's sleep. And then like a little picture of somebody dreaming about cats or moon and stars. They had a whole bunch of them. So if you were to redecorate your house or refurnish your house with mattresses and you open each box, you have this little surprise and delight moment.
Yeah.
Well, that client grew, right? And next thing you know, they're in Target and whatever.
Okay.
They stopped using us. And we said, why did you stop using us? And they said, well, that we wanted to use that when we were small, but now we're big, so now we don't have to. And I didn't even know how to respond to that. Like any brand that can remain personal at scale is really unique and a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And I have lots of examples of clients we work with that are big at scale and personal at scale and small and personal at small scale to talk about. But when somebody says, well, we don't need to do that anymore, it's just like, I don't know what to say to that. I guess you don't. So good luck to you.
Yeah.
But, it's just interesting, the framework the lens people look through.
Yeah, I think almost with any business, you would think that it's great that your business has scaled and has reached, different retail locations instead of maybe direct to consumer. But I feel like the goal with every big business is to still have that personalized small business feel because people want to be a part of your journey with you. And I think bringing them along with you through a personal note is a great way to do that. Even if your business has taken off, that's great. Your initial customers are what's really going to carry you on in terms of word of mouth and, positive reviews. So you definitely want to keep that relationship going. Interesting approach they took. But as someone who has 20 years of marketing experience, what advice would you give to growing brands about integrating personalized human touches into their marketing strategies without losing the scaling opportunities? So what are some things that you would recommend in terms of adding that personalized touch, and how often would you say the cadence would be?
Well, if you just want to test it to see if it'll work, what I'd say is go to Walgreens or Hallmark store and pick up a bunch of cards and send them out yourself. And then when you see it works, I'm really not here to sell my company. I'm here to promote handwritten notes overall. Handwritten with an I, not with a Y. So I would say, but when you see it works, come to a company like Handwritten and see if you can make it scale. We recommend 4 touch points a year, not more. So there are some clients that do outbound outreach, like new prospecting type of thing. That's not the key use case. It can get very expensive with just postage. But to existing clients, It's a thank you for your purchase. It's then a birthday card, a holiday card. So that gets you to three right there. And then maybe one offer once a year, or an invitation to a special event. So it's really kind of, we say, you don't want to fatigue the mailbox like everything else is fatigued.
Right.
And also, we want to be conscious of costs. You really do need to build up a holistic, multi-channel outbound communication strategy, and handwritten notes are just one part of that strategy. If you don't have a thank you for sale because they haven't spoken to you that or bought from you that year, then obviously you have a anniversary of purchase or anniversary of donation that you can call on, or we miss seeing you type note, that type of thing. And the strongest brands we see are the ones that do it cross online and offline. So we work with a major luxury brand, and whether you buy their overpriced purse in a store or overpriced purse online, you're going to get the same experience. If you do it in the store, the note is going to say it came from the sales rep,
Mm-hmm.
and their phone number on it. And if you buy it online, it will say from the internet manager with their phone number on it. So you can create this really nice experience regardless of where they buy. And the reason I bring this up is so many of our clients do it just for the online
Mm-hmm.
because they think tying offline sales is too hard. But it's really not that hard, and we walk our clients through that. And it's weird when the user experience online is more personal than the offline one.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. I really like bringing in the two. I think something we talk about a lot too is the importance of field marketing and then also being able to tie that in with your digital marketing strategy. I think so often people forget the value of having an actual event. I think that's something we're really going to see a lot of. Brands are realizing that people want that in-person experience. So even if you are you primarily sell, through e-commerce, opening up different opportunities for people to get connected and to feel more a part of your brand is so important. And that's really great that you can tailor the marketing approach in terms of which way you want to go with your messaging. So if it's coming from the retail rep or if it's coming from online, I think that furthers, like, you really do feel like you're getting the message directly from them, which I think is really awesome. I've also noticed too, just being in the content creator space, if I receive a PR package and there's a note directly from like maybe the influencer manager and they send it to me and it's a nice handwritten note, like I'm so much more excited to get the package, and then also I'm more inclined to like share about it just because there's a little bit more of a connection now between myself and the brand. So I really think that goes a long way. As we wrap up this episode, I want to talk a little bit about looking ahead. So what's next for Handwritten, and how do you really see the future of personalized marketing evolving over the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, for us personally, there is some international growth that's happening and some additional customizations to our card customizer and stuff like that. But the underlying products really staying the same. I mean, there's only so much innovation you could do in a handwritten note before it becomes a gimmick, and I don't want it to become a gimmick. But personalization overall, I think you're running on a very sharp edge there, because if you over personalize, you run into the personalization paradox, which is, if I send, hey, Bex, happy birthday, and then I throw in there, we saw you bought a car, even though I'm not, then you're like, what the heck is going on here?
A little,
So, you know,
you're right.
you gotta walk that fine line of being personal and not over personal, and then getting creepy and weird, and that's the whole personalization paradox. So I think brands will continue to personalize, but the problem with it, and where hopefully it makes companies like Handwritten more valuable, is the instant discount that people are applying to that personalization because they know it's all AI. And one more personalized email, like you said, an Instagram ad or something else, people delete it instantly too. So they're going to try very hard to stand out personally on email and text message and push notification and all the rest. But people will just know, there's no incremental cost to it. Sending another email doesn't cost anything, and it's just a good program. So, applying this to websites and really doing better product personalization, I think we've been there for a couple of years now. I think we'll see that continue. But to your point, I think we're going to see more people leveraging their physical footprint, whether it's events or custom product layouts for you personally or whatever that is. I think there's opportunities to do it there. I think people really want things that can't scale anymore.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I agree. We talk a lot about that analog living, and I think through digital marketing, at least, we've seen so much fatigue, just the consistent ads. And you could tell now, I think people are catching on more and more to what's AI and what's not. And even when it comes to emails, like, it may say my name, but I know it was not written by a person. And I think
Yeah.
having that that connection. People don't want to read, don't want to sit through an email that's like 3 paragraphs long and it's clearly written by AI, and it's, you just don't, people are just kind of deleting that and moving on. So I think overall we're going to see a shift, creating that personal experience. I don't want to say digital ads are completely oversaturated. I don't think that's necessarily the case, but I think because it's become such a pay to play in terms of advertising and space on social media, people are kind of missing that experience where they're engaging with their friends and their family again. So now when you go on social, you're not even really seeing your friends and your family as much. It's just a bunch of ads or people you don't know. And I think now we're going to see a lot of people turning to the people that they do know to ask for those word of mouth recommendations, or to tell them, hey, I got this note in the mail and there's this new restaurant that opened up. Do you want to go try it? The owner sent us, or the chef sent us a personalized letter. I totally agree with where you see the marketing going, and I think that personalization aspect is going to be something that a lot of people should keep their eyes on. But yeah, thank you so much, David. If you want to just add really quickly, if anybody can find you, and if you're on LinkedIn or any of the social networks.
Yeah, so it's David Wachs on LinkedIn, and it's spelled funny, Wachs. But if you look David at Handwritten on LinkedIn, Handwritten is also spelled funny, but you'll find me. And then I'm also DB Wax on Instagram, where I do post every day now,
Awesome.
for better or worse. And then, but I recommend people check out handwritten.com, Handwrytten. You can get free samples and see for yourself if it's something you want to do. And if you do it, again, even if you do it with a pen and paper and sit down and do it, when you move to a company like Handwritten, don't just do it, automate it, because you'll do it a few weeks maybe and have best intention, and then it'll fall off your plate. But if you can automate it in your Salesforce.com or HubSpot or Shopify or whatever you're using, and we can help you with all that, it's just great when everybody consistently gets a personalized experience, and we can help you with that.